mask at the powder. I say right foot creep, ooh, walking with the needle. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch some bad, walk down, face them with the heat. The devil under
Let's go. Mike's turned up a little bit too loud there. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, man. What a great week. So nice to start off 2-0. Shout out. Good job, Dre. Leading the pack at 2-0. Oh, man. What a week. What a week indeed. This is what I really enjoy about fantasy football is you become more a fan of the players. I think in every single draft that I got Justin Jefferson. Guy's such a dog. He is the dog of the dogs. Freaking love that guy. Oh, man, oh man. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this year. Things are going well so far. A lot of injuries happening this year. We've got some interesting things going on. I think every year has a theme. Every year, there's always adjustments. We're only into week 2. There's so much more ball to play. But is it time to start panicking on some players? On some teams? Players? Commissioners? Managers? I don't know. Only time will tell, but yeah. So I usually go over power rankings, but my power rankings really didn't change too much. I think Eddie jumped, obviously, after a big week with some injuries. Dre dropped, losing Cooper Kupp. Whitney dropped, losing another player. So I've got some comparisons for everybody. I'm going to compare every single manager and their team to an organization. And I'll go in order, actually, of power rankings, what I think. That way, 2 birds with 1 stone. Perfect. What else? We've obviously got to talk about a trade that's pending so far. And then, of course, I gotta have my potential 2 boys up here. Oh, man. I hope that does go through. We'll dive right into it. I hope it does go through, but I think we should also not overreact. Some of us should not overreact. Austin, about the name. I mean, if you really look at it, Chase, his only good year was his rookie year. Other than that, he's had like a wide receiver 2 type season in both last year and the year before. And yes, he was injured last year, or Joe Burrow was injured last year, but still, like, he has not been, like, usually players improve. Justin Jefferson improved from year 1 to year 2 to where he's pretty much considered the wide receiver 1. But Chase is not that guy. Chase is like, kind of reminds me of like a better Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, he puts up some good numbers, but are you buying his, like, is he really that good, or am I buying the name? And I'm willing to take the chance on buying the name. They have not been good the first 2 games. I mean, they lost to the Patriots, and I mean, yeah, they lost to the Chiefs, but Chase was not involved in that game plan too much. He got 60 yards. He's had not been involved. And yes, they start off slow, but I don't know. I'm not going to dive too much into this. I'm going to let everybody kind of do their own thing. If you veto it, you veto it. I'm not going to be hurt. I mean, of course I want to have Chase on my team, but I honestly feel like I'm taking a chance and I'm buying a name. And at that point, I really, I've got my wide receivers set up. So I don't do well with wide receivers. I know that. That's usually something I struggle with every year. Every year that I've done good, it's always been running backs. And I feel like some people are good at picking certain players or certain positions. And I feel like I'm good at picking running backs most of the time. Not every year, but most of the time. Every year that I've gone far, it's always been on the back of my running backs. First year, Todd Gurley called the breakout there. I had Zeke also on that team. Second year, I called Melvin Gordon's breakout. Then I called Jonathan Taylor's breakout. I usually can hit on my running backs. It's just my wide receivers. So if I can just get wide receivers that I know I can just boom plug in, I don't have to worry about, even if they have a bad week. I'm not going to be benching these guys. That's what I'm going to do. But we'll see. Names don't win you championship. And sometimes some of these guys, they cool off at the end of the year. So there's no guarantee. Last year, we all thought Bijan was better than Alvin Kamara. Boy, were we wrong. And, I mean, it could be the same case here. So let's just not overreact. Who should be overreacting based on their team? Because I'm just going to get this out of the way. Eric, what are you doing? Your team put up barely 60 points. This is half-point PPR. We should be scoring like minimum 90. Brother, you got some work to do here. Let's dive right into it. Let's look at Eric's team here. Oh, let's not look at my waiver. I'm over here covering my own screen. Oh, now you're going to play Joe Burrow. Dude, I told you, Caleb Williams is not the answer. There's this certain expectation, and that's kind of the crappy thing about CJ Stroud coming in. There's a certain expectation with rookie quarterbacks when they come in that they're just because they've got the talent and they've got the name, they're going to produce. That's not the case. I mean, back in the day, I'm sure some of you boomers and old people remember when there was a new quarterback, they sat and they developed. Except for there's like Peyton Manning. Even Peyton Manning, like his first year. Peyton Manning, as amazing as he was, his first year was a catastrophe. Like, CJ Strouds do not grow on trees. It's almost like a Sam Laporta having such a good rookie year. I mean, that might be an exception because Brock Bowers has been balling out, but I'm not gonna beat dead horse here. I tried telling you, you didn't listen. This team is just not looking solid. I mean, and big hit with AJ Brown. I mean, at least they gave you a heads up, like, hey, Monday night, this guy's not playing. So at least you were able to play someone else. But if you look at this team, it is you not only screwed yourself with Caleb Williams, but then the DJ Moore looked pissed. He did not look like a happy camper. So I'm sounding the bells. I need like a siren. This is the closest thing I got. Well, some gunshots. I sound the sirens. It's time to panic if you're Eric. Eric, you best be making some moves, which you are. So, I mean, you're trying to make some moves. Hats off to you. We'll see if it works out. I don't know. Time to start making some more moves. I mean, I was there. I feel your pain. I was there last year. It sucks. You're starting off 0-2. Your playoff chances are dwindling. You've got a lot of room to make up. And if you lose another one, 0-3, it is not easy to come back from. So I'm saying sound the alarms for Eric's team. Lowest scoring. Because, not only are you battling coming back and, getting a better record, but now you have to catch up on points. Double whammy. So, and I almost wonder, this is now 2 years in a row who's gotten the person that's gotten the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow stack have started off so slow, and that their team has just done nothing. And I don't think that's just the only reason. I think there are other contributing factors on this team. Jameson Williams, his emergence has kind of crumbled Sam Laporta's fantasy value. I do like the move here, Alec Pierce. The guy's been balling out, and Anthony Richardson has been just slinging it downfield to him. But I think you concentrated too much on the stacks. I sound the alarms. That's my bottom line right there. Sound the alarms. Eric's team is not good, everybody. That's not a big shocker. I'm not breaking any news here. Eric's team is not good. And there's a part of me that loves it. Oh, man. God, I love fantasy football. It's always fun when you're winning. Never fun when you're losing. Yeah, this year's been interesting. It's been a lot of quarterbacks. Like our number one quarterback, I mentioned in the group chat, Baker Mayfield. Number two quarterback, Derek Carr. I don't know where exactly Sam Darnold is, but I know he's top 10. Like this has been a crazy, weird year for quarterbacks, and it's been a really slow start. I think over the year it'll start changing a little bit, but this is why I was trying to target running backs early. It kind of got derailed when I did not want to reach on a Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. I mean, if I reached for Saquon, that would have been a genius play, but as of now, I didn't want to reach for them, and I love JJ. So, and then coming around to, I didn't really see anybody that I liked too much besides Achane, but I wasn't going to reach for him super early, but this was why I was trying to reach. This is why I wanted an early pick up Bijan. Then I would have tried to go for Achane in the second round, late second round, and then hit back with like a third running back. I probably would have gone James Cook. I really like him this year. But I was trying to stack those running backs because I think this is going to be the year of the running back. There's so much wide receiver talent out there that we can see it. Rashee Rice got picked up so late, and he's a wide receiver one. And Dre, I think, killed that draft. Really now looking at it, I mean, how did you know that CMC was going to have a bad Achilles? The only thing I would say, which he tried doing, was getting that handcuff to Christian McCaffrey, which he tried getting Elijah Mitchell, didn't realize he was on the IR. But if Dre had, or Mr. Organic, if he had CMC, this guy's already the top scorer. Like, he would be killing it, absolutely killing it. But the fact is he doesn't. But he's still got two good running backs. And I think that's how important running backs are. He's missing his first overall pick, but stacked his two running backs after that. And I think that's why if you look, like, in my opinion, so my power ranks, I'll tell you the top three. I think it's Mr. Organic, me, and Austin. And if you look at all of us, we've got good running backs. I mean, and Ken Walker got injured, and he wasn't playing week 2, but he balled out in week 1. And Charbonnet put up good numbers in week 2. And I know Ken Walker's a better running back. So if he was there, he would have put even better numbers. But I got James Cook, who I think is a very solid. He's right now the running back 4. But if you look at like what I think the top 3 teams are, and I don't know, what are the standings, I guess. Let me look at that. But Dre is number 1. We've got Dre number 1. I'm number 2. Austin's number 5. And then even Whitney. Like, if you look at Whitney's team, Bijan, James Conner, and then she had Isaiah Pacheco. Those are 3 very solid running backs. If you look at what I think are the top teams, they've got the top running backs. Look at Mr. Organic, his running backs rankings for the season, 1 and 3. So he's got the best running back, scoring wise, Alvin Kamara, obviously, and then number 3, Achane, and then you've got Austin, who's got the number 2 and the number 4 running back. And I mean, honestly, if he played Evan Ingram, this could be a completely different story this week. He might be the 2-0. I don't think so. I don't think Evan Ingram would, because Titans have just not been producing, and the Jaguars don't look that good. But I think he was closer to being 2-0 than what maybe some people are thinking. So I think this is the year of the running backs. For now. I mean, it could change. Like I said, we're only in week 2. Let's not overreact on anything. But yeah, I think we're at the year of the running backs. If you've got top running backs, and look at the bottom teams. In my opinion, you've got Brian, who does not really. Let's head over there and look. We'll start off with obviously the worst team. Rashad White has not done anything. Stevenson's actually been decent, but he's on. I'm not convinced on New England's offense. So he's not on a really high-powered offense. He's done decent, but those aren't two running backs that you're getting excited about. And then you move over to he changed his name, so it's over to he didn't play Josh Jacobs, or else I think he would have some more points. And like those again, I don't feel like those are running backs that you're getting too excited about. I think Josh Jacobs is good based off of volume, and same with Tony Pollard, but they're not two like crazy good running backs. And then Nate, I've said it from the get go. Nate, you're still 8 in my power rankings. Just a heads up. I said it from the get go. Like you need more running backs. You've got ETN, who's not had as well of a season as he did last year, and you got Zeke, and then you got Rashad White, or I'm sorry, not Rashad White, Zamir White. So like, I think it just says it right there. Right now, it's the year of the running backs. If you've got good running backs, you're in it good. But if you don't, you might be a little bit struggling. So I think running backs are going to be super important. It's going to be important to get those handcuffs. I'm going to release this tomorrow so I can get who I think is the next most valuable handcuff. We already saw who's the most valuable handcuff, Jordan Mason. And Paul now has, other than some injuries, a really solid squad. And other than his quarterback. But not going to beat a dead horse. Already talked about that last week. Moving on. So talked about running backs, trade talks, injuries. Oh my goodness. Injuries have been just absolutely killer. And segue from handcuffs. Like handcuffs are going to be important. I think also having depth. And that's where in my power rankings, I kind of have factored some depth into some people's power rankings. In my opinion, Austin has the best depth. The guy has 4 solid running backs and 4 very solid wide receivers. He doesn't have a backup QB, but QBs in a 10-man league, non-super flex, you can find some streamers, honestly. But I think it's going to be very important to have depth, which means it's going to be important to be on waiver wires. Eddie, I tell you this every year and you don't listen. It worked 1 year because you didn't get any injuries, and it's a little bit of an asterisk because yes, you won, but did you? You didn't officially, I guess you officially won on Yahoo, but it never really played out. And you got to make some waiver wire moves. You don't win at the draft. I guess you can. It's just going to be very unlikely. And I think that's I've been thinking and I've been racking my brain because, I think there is some luck involved. But at the same time, if someone has won in the league 3 times in the last 7 years, they got to be doing something right. So I think that Austin has done a very good job of hitting those waiver wires, and I think the rest of us need to catch on. I always try to, but I'm kind of pessimistic when it comes to people just taking over and being just as good. And I think that's half of fantasy football is not just about the talent, but also the opportunity. I think I've talked about this before, but just something to think about when you're looking at you can build a good team just from the waiver wire. It's going to take some time. And that's where, yes, I say panic. But honestly, Eric, don't panic too much. I don't think you should panic. And I don't think Brian should panic either. There is plenty of opportunity. There are some golden nuggets out there in the waiver wire. You just got to find them. And in a league where like Eddie and sometimes Whitney's not as active, there's more opportunity out there. So something I always think about. Another thing to think about, I'll just remind you, Thursday night, if you got someone playing Thursday night, put them in your wide receiver, put them in your running back. Don't keep them in the flex because you never know. Just a shout out to the people. All right, we're going to go over some comparisons along with some. These will be in order of power rankings. I need some water here. We're going to start off with Mr. Organic. Number 1. I still can't. Like, this guy. How are you absolutely dominating while giving up your first round? Like, if I don't have Justin Jefferson, I think I'm 1-1. I don't know. It's just applause. Hats off to you. I mean, you're absolutely dominating while missing your 101. Wait, let's see here. Mr. Organic. My comparison for you are the Jets, Jets. The reason why I have you as the Jets is I think you have one of the highest upsides. If you look at your team, you've got a good, reliable quarterback. You've got a number 1 wide receiver here. You've got a really good running back. You've got a super solid squad. And you've been putting up points. My only concern is Devon Achane. Very small guy. Can he handle the workload? Alvin Kamara, getting old. Mike Evans, he's getting old. Lamar Jackson, guy takes hits. The Jets have the talent, I think, to go to the Super Bowl. Your team has the talent to go to a championship. But I feel like there's kind of an injury risk there. There are just some injury concerns that I have if this were my team. Devon Achane is not a big guy. And if he's getting the volume, that's great. But also, that's scary because the guy's taking a lot of hits. Lamar Jackson, like, you have a Baker Mayfield, yes. But you lose Lamar Jackson, you lose your Aaron Rodgers. And I think this guy is going to help win you weeks. And if you don't have him, you're going to need a lot more support. I just feel like this is a high risk, high reward. And what I've found with older players, Amari Cooper, Alvin Kamara, Mike Evans, as the season goes on, they're just old. They can't recover like they used to. They're going to start slowing down. And my concern is your team's going to do what it always does every single year. You're going to go off the first 7 games and then just downhill from there. One year I compared you to Tennessee Titans because it seems like they always do really well at the beginning. I mean, not anymore, when they had Rabel, and then just kind of nosedive the second half of the season. That's my concern. So I'm going to call you the Jets, Jets. Number 2, I had to put myself at 2. I'm second in points. I think I'm second in points. I'm second in standing, so I'm going to put myself as number 2. I'm going to give myself the comparison as the Eagles. And especially if this transaction goes through, if I have Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, and Jamar Chase, I am wide receiver heavy. With a solid running back and James Cook, I'm going to give myself the comparison of the Eagles. Eagles have the best wide receiver core in the league. I don't even think it's a question. I mean, I guess you could maybe compare it to the Cincinnati Bengals, but I would say like Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts are similar players. So I'm gonna give myself the Eagles. I'm not gonna go too much into myself because I like talking about you guys more. Number 3, Austin. Austin. I appreciate the name change. Finally putting some respect on my name where it belongs. Austin. I'm going to put you as the Chiefs. And I think you've got, I got to say, I went over it a little bit. Austin, you've got 3 top 10 running backs in Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and J.K. Dobbins. 2 of those, you've got the number 2 ranked and the number 4 ranked wide running back. So you've got 2 in the top 5. You've got the number 2 or wide receivers. You've got number 2 overall in Nico Collins and quarterback number 5. Besides your tight end, like there is not, in my opinion, there's not a better, well-rounded team, especially when you look into the bench. Yeah, Christian Kirk hasn't been doing well, but he's still solid. JSN has absolutely gone off. Devin Singletary has been a really solid. If that's your number 4 running back, I mean, there should be no complaints there. You got Jalen Waddle that you can spare on the bench because now Ayuk is kind of forced into being the number 1. And I was watching that Houston-Minnesota game, or Houston and, I forgot who they played. Houston Bears game. And, oh my God, Nico looked like a wide receiver 1. Like wide receiver 1 overall. The guy is an absolute beast. Huge pickup in the 4th round there. So I would say this, and you're also the reigning champ. So you've got a really solid squad as the reigning champ. You've won 3 years. The Chiefs have won 3 years. There were 3 championships. And then everyone wants you to lose. Like, we're beyond the point where, like, usually with, like, new people winning, it's always fun to watch them win. You know, Houston Texans, that's kind of fun to watch them win. Almost have, like, an underdog type. But you've won so much. Everyone's tired of watching you win, and everybody wants you to lose. I think it's nothing personal. Like I said, I think it's just you've won too much. Now everybody would love to watch you lose. So I'm going to give you the Chiefs. Moving on. Number 4, I have Mr. Eddie, the biggest jump. I mean, Marvin Harrison absolutely went off. And the guy, I mean, if that game was anywhere competitive, I'm pretty sure he would have had more touchdowns. That was kind of scary to watch. Like, I don't know. I figured this guy has a high floor, but I'm not sure if we know how high his ceiling is. That's going to be a scary team. And I am very grateful to have Kyler Murray. I still can't believe I got Kyler Murray in the 13th. I'll remind you all in the next few episodes too. Eddie, I've got you as Houston. I've got you as the Houston Texans. The reason why is if you look at this lineup, look at all these names. Patrick Mahomes, Marvin Harrison, Tank Dell, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, Dalton Kincaid, and Devontae Adams. If I'm looking at this, like, sometimes I like compare. I'll compare like across the board. Oh, how does my wide receiver stack up against his? Or like I'll look at a name and be like, oh, I'm not worried about that guy too much. I look at this team. There is loads of talent, and I think that's just like the Houston Texans. They have loads of talent. They've got a number 1 quarterback, 3 number 1 wide receivers, a solid tight end, 2 good running backs. I'd still like Dameon Pierce. The guy just doesn't get any opportunities, but that's a side note. I mean, there's just loads of talent. And then it's just kind of a question of can it all be put together to win a championship again? To win a real championship again? I don't know. I just feel like there's so much talent here, and that's the same with the Houston Texans. So we saw it on display this last week. I don't know if can you keep it consistent? We'll see. We will see. Moving on. Next person. Next man up. This one. And you got to upgrade your name, Dre. You've graduated after last week. You didn't get any ugly wins. Oh, and speaking of wins, like, if you look at what I thought was interesting, again, it happened last week. Okay, so look at last week. Like, the top 5 scorers all won. Like, there wasn't one where the number 1 team's out going against the number 2 team. So it's almost like week 1 super fair. Like, really good matchups. Week 2, I mean, they almost kind of like make it boring, but they make it fair. Besides Austin, like, Austin outscored Nate, but besides that, like, the top four teams were not going against each other. The top 4 teams were going against someone else. So the top 4 teams for the week got the win. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll keep going. It's just something kind of I thought was interesting looking into last couple weeks. Sorry, nerding out here. Next one up. And I struggled with this one at first. I was like, who am I gonna make Dre? But it's staring me right in the frickin' face. Like, this guy, he has all the Lions players. He's got 4 Lions players. So I was like, why not? You're the Lions. Dre, you are the Lions. You have all the Lions. You have all the upside. You've got a rockin' tight end. I don't know what else to say here. Like, you've got all the Lions. The only thing, like, are you limiting yourself? I mean, you've got a good matchup with Arizona, but are you limiting yourself by putting both Detroit players? I don't know. I think Jameson Williams should scare any Amon-Ra St. Brown owner. That, along with his injuries. Guys kind of gets injured sometimes. But, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think it'd be awesome if you started every single line that you had. And go pick up another one. Who else? Someone should trade you Gibbs. That'd be funny. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. You have all the lines, so staring me in the face. Paul, I got you next. Next man up. Paul, I struggled with this one for like a second, and I was like, oh, this one's pretty easy. Paul, you're new to the group. At first, I was like, okay, Paul's a 49ers fan. Should I make him a 49er in my comparison? Nah, you're too liked. Everyone hates 49ers here. You're too liked. We enjoy having you. You've been an awesome addition to the league. So I'm not going to give you the 49ers. I'm going to give you the Los Angeles Chargers. You're the new guy in the group. John Harbaugh's a new guy in the group in the NFL. You're too likable. Like I said, you're too likable to the 49ers. You've got a lot of really young wide receivers, and you've got that stack of running backs. Your running backs are solid. And you've got young, besides Stephon Diggs, you got Rome Odunze and Xavier Worthy. You've got those young wide receivers that are maybe a little more inexperienced. And you also have Justin Herbert. Interesting move, moving Aaron Rodgers to your starting lineup. I guess against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't blame you there. That was another rough injury. Deebo Samuel. Oof. But I'm gonna make your comparison. The Chargers. Next person I've got up is Whitney. Whitney, I would definitely have you ranked higher, but you've been just plagued with injuries. And with that being said, I'm going to name you the Rams. You're the Rams, not just because of all your injuries. Rams have been getting killed with Puka, Cooper Kupp, their offensive line. But they had a decent quarterback. And we've seen Jared Goff do pretty well. They threw him to the wolves. They were like, I don't want you. They disposed of him, sent him over to Detroit to go curl up and die. And that's exactly what you did to Matt Stafford, to the Rams quarterback. So I was like, Rams is a perfect fit for you. They've got a really solid running back in Kyren. You've got a solid running back in Bijan. But you're just getting hit with the injury bug this year, which really sucks. Pacheco also went out. Yeah, those are two really tough losses right there. That's your top two, maybe, at least 1 and 3. I don't remember exactly, but those are two really tough. But you've got a solid squad, I would say. Besides that, a number 1 tight end, Trey McBride. I know tight ends haven't been really scoring much besides Brock Bowers, but and you got Rashid Shaheed. Oof. Okay. Maybe I ranked you too low. Oh, it's too late now. We'll see if Rashid Shaheed, if he continues his tear. Chris Godwin's been the just opportunity beast and has been soaking up all the targets. He's been really solid, but he's 18 and 21. Jeez. And I mean, those are two really easy. So we'll see how they do against Denver, but the guy's been super solid. And Zay Flowers, I think he's going to be a reliable 10 points per week. Next up, I told you, number 8, Nate. Nate, I don't mind your team. I mean, I think you're getting hit. Tyreek Hill's taking a hit with no Tua. Oh, that was rough to watch. I hate watching that kind of stuff. That's just super sad. I'm glad he's taking some time. That's a side note, though. You're taking a hit there. I don't know about Seahawks offense. We looked okay, but against New England, I don't know. I'm a little unsure on our offense. Yes, DK had a good day, but I've already talked about your running backs are just not good enough for me to throw you up in rankings. Jaden Reed, I mean, his week 1, because he did so well, I'm curious on how he's going to do when Jordan Love gets back. So we'll see how that plays out. My comparison for you. Who else than the frickin' Raiders? You've got an old wide receiver in Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill's not going to carry the team. Devontae Adams is not going to carry that team to a championship, a Super Bowl. And this last week, the Raiders won against the Baltimore Ravens, kind of unexpected. This last week, won against Paul. I mean, in my eyes, a little unexpected. So, and you love the Raiders. I'm surprised you're not more of a Raiders fan. So, I had to make you the Raiders and Marshawn, Team Marshawn. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Next up, BJ. There's some questionable starts going on. Like why were you starting? Why were you not starting Josh Jacobs? I guess I could kind of see they unsure with Malik Willis, but I mean, this is not a terrible team, but I don't know, for some reason it just does not. There's talent there. There's the skill. You've got, I mean, Tony Pollard has been kind of surprisingly decent. Josh Jacobs, I've said it all year, opportunity beast. You have the talent, but you just kind of can't you haven't been able to, it hasn't just come together. And so I'm gonna make you like the Bears. They've got the rookie quarterback. You're rookie to the league, rookie to fantasy football, and hats off to you. You've got a better team than someone else. But yeah, you've got loads of talent. You just haven't been able to put it together yet. And we'll see. Maybe that turns around, but that just has not been the case so far. And that leaves me to last. And I'm gonna just talk about it right now. I preached it week 1. I preached it week 2. This person was the last person on my power rankings, and I'd like to say I was damn well right. Only put up 60 points. I called it last week. I didn't think he was gonna put up that low of a score, but I called it. I put him under BJ. No offense, BJ, but you're brand new to fantasy football. I feel like it's a little bold to put Eric underneath you. I did, and I mean, I was right. What was my bold prediction? Let me go back. I'm actually kind of curious on this. I'll have to look. I feel like one of my bolder prediction was Eric not making playoffs. I don't know. Anyway, last but certainly not least, I want this picture changed. I want this picture changed so bad. Eric, if you miss playoffs, you have to change that photo. We should make a bet. This one's obvious, and I don't even need to explain why. Eric is the Panthers. Straight up Panthers. He's benching his starter for the veteran. He's 0-2. There's no hope in sight. It's already panic time. It looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's probably a duck, and this one's a panther. It's obvious. Oh man, look at the. Sorry, came back, saw these two. I should do the frosted tips. I think for Halloween I might go as Joe Burrow. I'm gonna have a Halloween podcast. Hell yeah. I think I've got some ideas brewing. I'm sorry, I know this was not the best podcast. I was not as prepared today. Busy day at work. I'm doing this at 9 o'clock at night. I'm now thinking I'm gonna go get some frosted tips. Does he have the frosted? No, he doesn't. I'm gonna go get some frosted. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Good luck to you all, except for Dre. This next week, Eric, I hope your team I hope you lose, because this is hilarious, and I'm glad it's happening to someone else and not me. I hope you at least score 100 points this next week. And I hope, if it works out, I hope Garrett Wilson does help you out. I do have that belief. I'm really not upset if that trade gets vetoed, because I still kind of believe in Garrett Wilson. I feel like I've got a better quarterback behind Anthony Richardson, and I think Ja'Marr Chase has a higher ceiling. I'm going for that championship this year. There's no fucking around. It's business time. It's been business. It still is business. I don't care if I've got the best team. I'm going to make it better somehow. So, thanks for watching, guys. See you next week. Good luck to everybody.